Okay, we'll go over the goal here in just a second. I've been seeing a lot of students struggle with this. I'm going to make a video over it, kind of cover it in class again. So you want to be able to solve linear equations and inequalities in one variable. We'll get to inequalities. Right now we're dealing with equations, and literal equations comes later. You want to understand each step in solving a simple equation as following from the equality of numbers asserted at the previous step. So this is just showing your work and being able to justify what you're doing. Okay? So those are the standards. Really the goal. You can think of the goal as either one of those, whichever way is easier for you. Remember, you're solving for the variable and its value. You're solving an equation, okay? So we're going to start this off. And I want to start with this equation. I'm seeing a lot of people struggle with this. So 0.5 times 7d plus 4 equals 7 minus 1.5d. Okay? And so what I want to do is I want to solve for d. So I'm looking to get d alone on one side of the equation. So what I'm going to do that is I'm going to distribute 0.5. So I get 3.5 d plus 2 equals 7 minus 1.5 d. So I'm going to add 1.5 d to both sides of the equation. And I get 5d plus 2 equals 7, right? 3.5 plus 1.5 is 5. Negative 1.5d plus 1.5 will cancel out. And so from here I can just subtract 2 from both sides of the equation, and I get 5d equals 5. 7 minus 2 is 5, and then I can divide both sides by 5, and I get the 5's on the left-hand side will cancel to 1, so I'm left with d, and then 5 divided by 5 is 1. So the answer to that equation would be 1. Okay? And so if you are struggling with these, what I would do is I would try them out on your own. So for this one, I've got 4 times 0.5f minus 0.25 equals f plus 6. What I would do is pause this video right now and see if you can solve this out without my help, and then check your work. So hopefully you've tried to solve this out, so I'm going to go over it. So 4 times a half is 2, so I've got 2f, and then 4 times negative 0.25 is negative 1, which is equal to f plus 6. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and solve for f. So I want to get all the f's on the left-hand side of the equation in this case, and then all the constants on the right-hand side. And just a general rule of thumb, for me, what I typically do is I try to keep my variables positive if I can. So 2f I know is larger than 1f. So if I subtract 1f from both sides of this equation, I've got a positive coefficient on that variable. So the coefficient, just remember, is the number in front of the variable. So I've got 1f minus 1 equals 6. So what I've got to do now is solve for f. So I've got 1f minus 1 equals 6. So I've got to get rid of this negative 1. So what's the opposite of subtraction? Well, it's going to be addition. So you're going to add 1 to both sides, and you get f equals 7. Okay? We'll do one more. So for this one, I've got 4 times 1 plus 0.5 m equals 7m. So what I'm going to do is distribute this 4. So 4 times 1 is 4. 4 times a half is 2. So 4 plus 2m equals 7m. And just remember what I said. I want to solve for m, but I want to keep it positive. So 7m is over here and 2m is over here and it's positive. So I can move that to the other side and that stays, that keeps this variable over here positive. 7m minus 2m is going to be 5m. So I can flip equations. So I'm just going to bring this over here. Is equal to 4. And then what I can do is I've got 5 times m equals 4, and then I just divide both sides by 5. So the opposite of multiplication is division, and I get m equals 4/5. Okay, I'm going to do one more. So I've got 6s minus 4 equals 8 times 2 plus 1/4 s. And so what I want to do is I want to distribute this 8 first, and then I'm going to rearrange the equation. So I've got 8 distributes. So I've got 16. And then 8 divided by 4 is going to be 4s. And then over here I've got 6s minus 4. Okay? So what I want to do is I want to get all the variable terms to the other side. So I'm going to subtract 4s from both sides of the equation. And 6s minus 4s is going to be 2s minus 4 equals 16. So then what I can do is add 4 to both sides. And I get 2s equals 20. And then from here, I've got 2 times s is equal to 20, so I can just divide both sides by 2. That gets rid of that multiplication of 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1, so that's 1s. And then I'm left with 10. And that's really all they're asking you to do when you're solving these equations out. I did something wrong. 16. No, that's 1. That was my bad. So I've got 16, 8 times 2 is 16, 8 times a fourth is 2. That was my bad. So I subtract 2s from both sides of the equation. My apologies. And then I get 4s here. Add 4 to both sides. I'm still going to get, I'm still going to get 20. So then I've got 4s here. And then I divide both sides by 4. And I get s equals 5. My bad. Okay. But hopefully that's enough to get you started. Sorry for that mistake, but happens to the best of us. But I hope that helps, so just try those out, solve for the variable. That's the goal. And see you next time.